Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm all right. You've just re-recorded your biggest record with the Burdens of Being Upright, and it's Modern Burdens, and it's so freaking cool how you've done this and the sounds and everything. So I'd love to hear the story about why you came to the decision to do this.
Well, a lot of bands, when the 20-year mark comes around, especially maybe bands from the 90s, we all had these record contracts back then. They don't do this anymore. There's perks about how we had big record contracts, but there's the cons, the negative aspect. And one of them is that all of those big record labels like to keep your masters in perpetuity. It's like they keep it, and if they want to license your song or whatever, they get the money for the what's called master sync rights or whatever. And so a lot of bands create their albums mostly note for note, so that if ever a licensing deal comes through, they can slip them a rupee and slip the new version that's owned by the band, so that the band can get paid. And so that was the original idea. It was somebody suggested to do that, and I was like, yeah, that's really smart. And then because I am so not about the money, probably stupidly so, I was like, that sounds boring. Like, I already did that album. And sure, I could use the money, but I guess this is going to be, I'll do that next, and nobody really needs to know about it. I'll just do that. But I got together with my friend John Lachevsky, who's in a band called Lake Cambrian, and we were talking about it, and we're like, yeah, why do we have to do this? Let's change it up. And in talking about those songs that are 20 plus years old, it was all a different time in my life, and I felt like I didn't want to hear those songs anyway, but maybe we could breathe new life into it. And we thought the fans would kind of dig it if we changed it up. Then I realized all these songs needed revamping anyway, like they needed healing. It was like these songs were all like, oh, my ex-boyfriend, he was such a jerk, and he treated me like crap, and I let him do it, and I was like, okay, this needs to just, like, all of that whining needs to stop, and I need to kind of come to terms with that in myself too. And I decided, like, this would be a healing process for me. I'm like, going through all this self-help stuff. I just turned 50. I'm super into all of that. I'm like, why don't we just put the record through the self-help machine too? And so all of these songs started to musically change and become more vibey and sexy. Whereas in the 90s, it was all like rigid and fast and aggro. Now it was like, oh, let's feel it with our bodies. And then the lyrics kind of started to become about something else that's very similar, some misogynist person that we kind of all know. I won't mention names. But the lyrics, I just kind of transposed like another person's face onto my ex-boyfriend's face and just saying like, hey, you're the one that wrote this song, meaning like you're the guy that messed everything up, just to another person, and made it more modern. And then, so we were starting the process. So this was the deal. Okay, we're going to redo it. Yeah, and we're going to heal the songs and heal the album, heal Tracy. And we thought it was going to be the Year of the Woman because this was back in October of 2016. And so we were like, yeah, it's such a girl power album. And, even though we're hearing this word misogyny a lot in the political campaigning, we still never thought, we just thought we had it in the bag. It was going to be like the first female president, girl, Year of the Woman, wahoo. And we thought we would invite like maybe one or two singers to sing on the album just as a little like, yeah, wow, let's do this. So as we all know, the next morning, dun, 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 Wednesday morning, we're all waking up going, wait a minute. And in that thoroughly depressed state, I realized like, wait, this has to be very much now have to kind of be a message just for me, just to make sense of it all. Like, this has to be a girl power album. This has to be like a coming together, a banding together kind of thing. And so we started asking other artists to join. And we basically, for the girls that I didn't know, I just tweeted at them and said, hey, you want to sing on my album? And we just got such positive responses. So now it's 7 girls out of the 12 tracks are singing lead on this album.
And they are all such awesome artists in their own right.
Oh my God, they're so great. Yeah.
When you first kind of tweeted out some of the the guests on it, I mean, that's when my mouth just dropped, and I was like, "This
Really?"
Because that record for me was a very big record, especially in my teenage years. I'm 36. I'm 36
Okay.
now, and it was a huge record for me at that point. Of course, I did not connect to it the way I'm sure a lot of these other artists did, because they were women and they had gone through those same things, So I sort of came on it as just like, wow, what great rock songs or whatever that's fun to sing along to.
Awesome.
But knowing that and hearing a lot of these artists talk about how influential like that record was for them and how it helped them in their own stories and how it helped them become better artists and everything. And then here they are a part of it. Like I can understand their excitement as well about getting this tweet.
That's cool, man. It was a super ego boost for me because, it's very easy for me now to be like, well, I guess I'm a one-hit wonder, and, I'm a mom now, and I put out an album, and it's just different. If you get, like, a few thousand people buying, you're like, woohoo! So everything is so different. But to hear, the women respond to it and say how it influenced them, my ego is, like, doing, like, push-ups, It's like very, very excited. And my heart was warmed. And now I'm friends with all of these women, the ones that were, just acquaintances or people I just met. And it's just a lovely group of girls, women.
Right. Was it ever even a thought, like, as you going through the healing process of kind of reclaiming, these songs for yourself and that they were about that guy or whatever, I don't know. Was it... I don't know the question I'm really trying to ask here. Hearing about all these people, how much they loved this record and these artists who were influenced by it, and knowing that from your point of view, it was about this really, what it sounds like a crummy part in your life.
Yeah.
Like we all love this, but it was really bad for you. I mean, does that thought ever cross your mind in that way?
Not at all. And I think it's because, apart from Mother, a lot of those lyrics are pretty veiled. And so I don't think a lot of people really knew exactly what the album was about unless they read an interview by me. Mother was definitely a phone call to my mom, me not being able to tell her how shitty things were. But I think, that was the portal. Everybody responded to that song and then got to the rest of the record. But I think, that was a universal sentiment, I guess. I struck a chord with a lot of people. A lot of people have a hard time telling the mom the truth or, protecting their mom, whatever. So I really just took it more as compliments. I didn't think anyone was like, oh, yeah, if anything, maybe people, not just women, just could respond to the part of the album where, they didn't feel like they could stand up for themselves or, felt mistreated by anybody. So, yeah, I don't think, like what you're saying, I don't think anyone necessarily was celebrating that I went through a shitty time. Plus,
I don't think it was celebration either, but yeah.
Right. Well, I did feel like after a while, though, I remember thinking, God, why am I bitching so much about stuff? Like, I kind of felt like I needed to change my approach to writing because I did feel like I was just kind of moaning and groaning about things.
Yeah, but regardless of that, I mean, suddenly, as you said, this album makes sense again in 2017. One because of the president, one because of like Weinstein and every.
Yeah.
I mean, and now there's a tidal wave of that. Like everybody's coming out and saying, "Well, so did this dude, and so did this dude." I mean, it's really great that these people are being outed, but in the context of this record, and you're screaming everything's fine in that way, in that sarcastic way, and it's almost like
Right. And it says a lot, like now that more and more women are speaking out, it was amazing how many people spoke out about Weinstein. And I was like, it's weird why they waited. Why did they wait? And then I realized that they didn't have a platform. I mean, if they were just going to speak out and do it on their own and stick their neck out, they'd probably lose their job, which is a whole other level of wrong. And so it shows that there are power in numbers. And so that kind of harkens back to, having all of these amazing women on my album. I just feel like maybe, that's the theme here, that we've got each other's back. And it's not just about women, and it's about everyone. Like, sometimes it is hard to speak out on your own, and you need support.
I want to point out also the really awesome thing about that song that I just learned in the research for this was that this was the only single to top the Billboard alternative charts by a female solo artist right until recently, right?
Yeah, and some Lord's Royals. And I didn't even know that until the press came out about Lord, that was the first alternative by a single.
That's pretty
by a
badass.
woman.
That's amazing.
I know. I'm pretty psyched about that. It made me feel like I broke the chart. I left them hanging.
About the song Free, that's the song that's not on the original, right?
True.
Is that a new song?
No, this is a song that has been around and revamped and also mysteriously missing. Like, a lot of fans have been asking me to record this song because it was the title or the credit, let me see, what do you call it? The track that's happening when the credits roll for the movie Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis and Samuel Jackson. That song was there at the end of the movie, but it was never released anywhere. It wasn't even on the soundtrack. So a lot of people had been asking me, where can I find that song? And I never even thought like that. I was like, whatever, that one's done. But the more I thought about it, and actually like a fan, a really special fan, just pretty much begged me to re-record the song. And I was like, you know what, I should just do that here as like an extra, little fun thing to tag on. And it's the perfect time to do it since this is the 90s album, and that was in the 90s. So I just re-recorded it like how it was on the movie. However, there is a different version of that song called Freed with a D at the end. That's on my second album.
Okay.
The same chorus, but a different verse.
I gotcha. It's a cool song. It's a great song, and one I wasn't familiar with. So it was a nice...
Thank you. Cool.
When I kept looking down there at the bottom of the track list, my brain was going, something's different.
Right. What's up with that? I got a lot of fans to sing on the chorus of that and also on my song Navy Bean, which was really fun. They sent in their vocals.
That's cool. And then another song I want to bring up, Brain Crack, is now like this full-on feature-length song.
That is so cool. It's like a 07 meets, trip-hoppy. It's a song where it used to be just a little 30-second ditty where I was just trying to, show everyone that I could play the violin.
It's a little ditty that I've sang many times, but by the way, but now it's like,
so cool.
Kind of being it fleshed out and everything, and it still really works. I mean, you never know how something like that's going to work. Or maybe, that's one of those songs that a lot of people have always wished, like, because I always liked it, although it never occurred to me. It's like, I always like it. I wish it were so much longer. And now that it's longer, it's like I can like it even more. Yeah,
I liked it even more. And I really have to thank John Lachevsky, my producer guy, for really fleshing that out. And then Kathryn Calder from the new Pornographers, she recorded those vocals at her house, and she sent like 35 tracks through email, and then also just took it upon herself to put a little piano part down and stuff, and it made the song.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So now that you've been living in 90s land, do you get to close that box and move on? Have you started the next, what's next?
It's already ready. I kind of had something already ready before diving into this. So, I'm ready to step out of the 90s. However, it's been fun. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to move back into the 2017s.
Yeah. Is that just a new album on the way? Is that basically?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a couple things up my sleeve. I've got like an album. I've got a concept album that I'm already like shooting a video for, which is part before the horse. And then I also have, I'm going to call it an album for young music enthusiasts.
All right. I'm baited.
Pretty vague. Okay, good.
2018?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, we'll be here waiting, ready.
Yay.
Open arms, all that stuff.
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. It really was. And I appreciate you so much sticking with this record and making it all fantastic so I can relive it again with just as much enthusiasm.
Oh, man, you got it. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you around.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.